Well, hi everyone. I'd like to welcome you to Campion's Virtual Learning Resource Expo, and today we're going to look at chemistry. I'd like to acknowledge and pay respect to past, present and future traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting today. My name's Susanna, I'm from Campion. So today we're going to talk about chemistry and we're going to hear from Oxford, Jacaranda and Pearson. So welcome everybody who has joined in person and those who, I know we've got lots of people who are looking to watch the recording afterwards. So if you're here in person, this is being recorded, and if you have any questions as we go, do please pop them into the chat. Just before we jump into it, I'm going to ask James, our MD here at Campion, to give us a quick welcome.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining. My name is James Cathro and I'm the Managing Director of Campion Education. Campion are all about making teaching and learning as easy as possible for schools. Delivering education has never been so complex, and there's a world of new tools available, including Campion's own digital MyConnect 2 to help prepare students for their future. Campion is a family-owned company and I've been the MD for more years than I like to remember. But I've had the privilege of visiting many schools, meeting many teachers over the years and finding out about what schools need, what students need, where education resources and learning pedagogy need to go. I hope you get a lot out of this webinar series, so let's jump in.
Thank you very much, James. So we'll head straight in. So from Oxford, I'd like to introduce Paul McCallum, Secondary Learning Consultant, and John Purnell, our State Sales Managers. So take it away, Oxford.
Thank you, Susanna.
Thanks, Susanna and James. My name is John Purnell. I'm the State Sales Manager for Oxford. So it's our pleasure today to introduce you to Oxford's new series, Chemistry for VCE Units 1 to 4. This is in addition to Biology for VCE Units 1 to 4 we released last year, along with Oxford Science 7 to 10. So we've got a lot happening in the science space. I'll hand over to Paul, who's going to take you through some of the features of the series and also a bit of a look at some of the digital. So over to you, Paul.
Thank you, John. Hoping everyone can hear me okay. Thank you again for your time today. As Susanna mentioned, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'll refer to our sales consultants and their details at the end of this session as well if you have any burning questions afterwards, and we'll refer you to some other links that might assist you in finding out more about chemistry VCE from Oxford that you can utilise in your own time. So we'll just start and go through the book. I know we're limited for time today, so I will just give you the highlight features of our books and also our digital component. So the way the book is structured is broken down into chapters, and inside the chapters there are topics. Every chapter has an opener that includes that key knowledge from the VCEE Study Design, and they're mapped to each chapter, and then the topics are aligned to those that study design key points as well. There's groundwork questions. These refer back to that prerequisite knowledge from previous years that students should have been taught and should know. It's a good refresher as well, but it's just there to ask them questions, to give them that information before they come and start going through this particular chapter in the topics. So yes, it's a good prerequisite if the students don't have the knowledge. It's a good prerequisite even if they do as a refresher as well before they move into completing the chapter and the topics inside it as well. There's a list of practicals for each of the chapters as well. Now these practicals cover the 8 scientific investigation methodologies that are referenced in the new study design as well. So they're referenced here on this the chapter opener, and you'll see them flagged throughout each of the topics as well, because they are found in the back of the book, so that they're not getting in the way of that flow when students are progressing through the topics inside the chapter as well. Topics within the chapter will include the key ideas. So this is just a summary of what students will know by the time they finish this particular topic. So it's nice and succinct and easy to access language as well. You'll find throughout the book that there's a glossary definitions in the margins, and this has been designed so that those key concepts are referenced contextually as students are moving through and reading through the particular text. Teachers can refer to these as well. They can be highlighted, especially in the Ebook. I'll show you that. But they're there, and the glossary is also found at the back of the text as well. As I mentioned before, the experiments are flagged in each of the topics. So that's designed so that that flow of ideas continues throughout the topic, that it's not just dumped in the middle of a particular topic, ruining that flow, and students and teachers can refer to this and go to it whenever they need to as well. Topics within the chapter continuing, they also include the study tips. So these are important things to know, mistakes that students need to avoid, how to prepare for different assessment tasks as well. So they're nice little quick, succinct study tips for students and also teachers to reference and utilise as they progress through the VCE chemistry. The worked examples, which are great, so really brings in that visual learning. It's step by step. It's a reference for teachers and for students to utilise. They also include video demonstrations. You can see these icons that are referenced inside the book and as part of each of the worked examples that, again, students and teachers can utilise as they're moving through. Topics within the chapter continued. They also include different challenges. So for more extension, critical thinking application for teachers to utilise. So if you do have students that you need to extend, you don't need to go and find work for them to do because it's built in to the book already. So that's another feature, as well as those real world contextual concepts as well. So this again is for application ideas in those real world contexts, and these are built in, highlighting that. They also focus and include those sustainability concepts that are included in the study design. So contextually seeing what they're learning, how it applies in that real world context. Continuing with what's found in the topics, we get these skill drills. So these are there for practicing those key science skills in context of the chapter. So there's key science skills that students will need to know that they have been learning throughout their secondary education as well. And then there's lots of check your learning questions for each topic also. So these are found at the end of the topic, great as that summative assessment, but there's also a digital quiz. It's built into the Ebook, and I'll show you that very shortly as well. That will feed back into your teacher dashboard, which is great again for that summative assessment, what students do and don't know, but that formative side of assessment too, so that you can attend to certain aspects that students may or may not be missing. At the end of each chapter, there's a review. So you've got the summary, which brings together all the key ideas from the topics, each of the topics. So it's a nice quick summary of what students would have learned throughout each of the topics, bringing those key ideas together. There's a little chapter checklist here as well. So again, this is a sort of self-assessment. Students can take charge of their own learning. Excuse me. And that success criteria is here for students to help evaluate their own understanding. So that's a good thing, is they can see, do I know this? Do I not know it? They can go back, they can reference what they do need to know and where they need to find it inside each of the chapters as well. The chapter reviews also include lots of review questions. So there's 30 plus in each chapter. It's multiple choice, there's short answer in here for, again, students to utilise. You've got paper versions of these. You'll also have the digital version as well. So lots of chance for students to be assessed, for teachers to see what the students are retaining, what they do and don't know, what needs to be attended to as they're progressing through as well. Quizlet is something that's been built into the new digital O books. That's for VCE Chemistry and our other new front list titles as well. And that's to test students' understanding again. Again, interactively, this is a resource that's outside of Oxford Digital, but there are links here for students and teachers to utilise. And again, teachers and won't have to develop anything because it's already been developed by our Oxford VCE Chem publishing team. So you click on the links, it takes you out to that, and that's another great resource to tap into as well. And then you've got, as you progress through, area of study checkpoints, unit reviews as well, and they'll provide more opportunities to engage with exam style questions as they progress. Experiments at the back of the book, as I mentioned before, flagged inside each of the topics, so they're not getting in the way of that flow. But you have numerous practical options for teachers and students to utilise. It'll cover those 10 hours of prac that need to be covered, and again, all those 8 scientific investigation methodologies as well. Practical videos are in here, worksheets, lab tech notes as well. Excuse me. Which have the risk assessments and advice for running the pracs.
Paul, just while you
Yes.
grab a glass of water or
Yes,
whatever.
me, sorry.
Yeah, no, all human beings here. Just got a quick query in the chat. Darren Marsh would like to know, could we see some examples of the exam style questions? So maybe that's something you'll cover later in the presentation, or you might be able to jump to it.
Yes, so excuse me, but they're being developed at the moment. I don't have examples of them just yet. We do have examples of them in our VCE biology. You'll be able to see a similar sort of structure, but they will be coming. As I mentioned here, in addition, there'll be SAC guidance, so annotating sample responses and templates for the SAC design. The practice exams will be in here as well, so fully printable. There'll be semester exams and also for each semester, and also for semester 1 and 2 exams that teachers and students can utilise, and the experiment answers will be in here as well. So yeah, sorry, I don't have the examples just yet, but they will be, as soon as they become available, they'll be no doubt put up into the sample that's available at the moment, where teachers can actually access and have a look at that. But also in our VCE biology, which does have the same structure as what the VCE chemistry is, you'll be able to see, if you go and have a look in there or sign up for the sample, what the exam style questions and how they're laid out, and the framework for those will be the same as in VCE chemistry as well. So thanks for your question.
That's great. And we do have another question, just some interest in when publications will be available to access. So both the textbook and the O-book. I'm sure you're going to cover that, but
yes,
maybe you can give us a sneak preview.
No, definitely. So I'll have a slide for that towards the end, so that we'll reference that and we'll get to it, no doubt.
Super, thank you.
All right. So let's go and have a look at Oxford Digital. So I'll just get out of this PowerPoint now. The Oxford Digital, the good thing about the framework with the new digital O-book Pro is that it is very similar. So if you are using or have seen VCE biology or any of our new front lists 7 to 10 for humanities, science, maths, then you'll see the structure is very similar. It's just the content really that changes. So that makes life a little bit easier if you are using other Oxford resources. What we have here is this landing page, and on the landing page is where we click on the read. It'll take us into the digital O-book. A good feature about what's found in the digital O-book is exactly as you'll see in the printed book as well. So you don't have to, it does match up and marries up exactly as it's seen in the printed book as it is in the digital book as well. So you don't go and have to hunt around for anything. It's nice and succinct and easy to navigate. I'll come back to all these other tabs at the top here, the resources, assigned work and reports, but let's go and have a look at what's inside the book at the moment. This sample chapter is all that's available at this time. Excuse me. As you've already seen in some of the slides, and this sample chapter people can go and access as well, and I'll reference that in just a minute. So that chapter summary, as we talked about, that key knowledge that's referenced here, and that's used to set out the topics as they progress through. Those groundwork questions that are here for that prerequisite knowledge and as a refresher for students and teachers to utilise. Any practice are referenced here as well. Now, what other things people can do and teachers can do inside the Ebook is there's some of these little icons down the bottom here. You can make notes. You can bookmark. We've got a full Oxford Dictionary referenced in here. You can zoom in and out on the text as well. I can navigate with the contents page on the left here. That can be put away at any time and come back to at any time as well. I can also navigate with the arrows at the bottom. If I wanted to highlight something in the text, this is the, I suppose, help cut down on having to copy and paste. With the digital teacher dashboard, it talks to the student dashboard. You can assign work, you can highlight and reference particular material inside the books as well, which I've done already. So I've highlighted this particular paragraph. I can, once I've highlighted it, this note will stay here. I can come in and edit at any time as well. I can share this note with my students inside their dashboard too. So if I click on this, click share, click the class or group that I want to share it with, it'll highlight all the students that are available here. I can then click apply. I can make some notes in here to ask my students, to read this, or it might be a particular component that you want them to focus on, that you can pass on to them and highlight as well. So when you confirm this, it will then send it into their dashboard, and next time they open up, it'll be in part of their notifications as well. So they're always here for me if I want to utilize those. The resources tab at the bottom has all the resources that are applicable for this particular either chapter or particular topic as well. So when I open it up, I can in here assign work as well. I can assign pages to be read. The teacher notes are inside the teacher dashboard, of course. So when I open those up, it's very explicit. And again, it's about cutting down on teachers' need to plan, and because it all lays it all out for you here as well. So that's there for teachers to reference and utilize. The student book questions, which are found at the end of the topic, are in a printable version if you want to utilize those. They also have the answers here, and then the topic quiz, which is a digital version of that, I suppose, topic review that students can then answer those questions. And as I mentioned before, it feeds back into the dashboard for teachers to be able to see what students know, don't know, and act on that as well. So there's the quiz there. I'd click start and go through and answer those questions that are in here. So as we move through, you'll see all of those things that we talked about before. The worked examples, the videos are here for teachers and students to reference and access. The check your learning component is here for each of the topics as well, and to answer those questions as well.
Paul, we have a question about the quizzes.
Yes.
Just wondering how they work. Are they self-marked? Is there instant feedback? Does it give guidance into further learning? Yeah, tell us a bit about the quizzes.
Yeah, so the quizzes are all self-correcting. It gives instant feedback to students once they complete. So that quiz that I opened up before, I'd already attempted it. You can see how good my chemistry knowledge is. So I got 0. But that will stay there. It will give that feedback to students. It's a green and red light system, so what they got right and what they got wrong. Green if what they got right, what they got wrong. They can go through and have a look at where they went wrong as well. Teachers can go in and look at that also. So when I show you the reporting in just a second, you'll see how a teacher will be able to utilise that with their students to, as I said, as formative and summative assessment. So yeah, that's a good question. Thank you, and we'll definitely touch on that in just a second as well.
Super, thank you.
So again, this is just the sample chapter, so we don't have the full book in here. But if I open up the content page, again, you'll be able to go and have a look at all the topics that are found inside the chapter. when we get to the end, that review that I mentioned earlier in the slides as well, where we give the chapter summary for each of the topics. So the chapter checklist for students to go and have a look at their own understanding and self-evaluate. And then as we move through, you have those revision questions that are inside the book. Students have the option to print out and do the paper version of these questions, or you go into the chapter review quiz, which will have not the same questions, but similar questions that again are all self-correcting, give instant feedback and feed into the teacher dashboard so they can see what the student's knowledge is finishing that particular chapter as well. The icons here for Quizlet, as I mentioned before, referenced, and also that review quiz, which is found in here. So you'll see these icons throughout the book, but you'll also see the resources tab. If I click on that, we'll have any of the resources that are applicable for this particular topic chapter page as well. There are some of the pracs that are referenced in here. So those that are highlighted and flagged inside the topics, we can go to the back of the book. We can go inside the O-book to go and find those as well. You'll see everything referenced here. Excuse me. And any videos that are there to assist as well. And you'll also find as worksheets here. You'll find the risk assessments here. You'll find the lab tech notes referenced in here as well. So again, very explicit, and hopefully have everything that a teacher will need to help teach VCE Chem with their students. So that's what's inside the O-book. The resources are all referenced here as well. So you'll find them in the O-book in that resource tab. But if I'm looking for something specific, I can come in here. You see them all referenced here with little boxes. But you'll also see that there is a filter that I can utilize as well. So I can select all, I can clear those, or I can look for certain resources in particular. I can tab over to just teacher-only resources as well. Inside here, I can assign resources also. So it might be we've completed the topic. I want students to complete the topic quiz. I click assign. Again, the start date and end date. Apply which students I want to send it to, and then send it off. Any assigned work that I do set will be sitting here. So I will just quickly assign something.
This is great, Paul. So we're just coming to the end of your time. If you want to chat about pub dates, availability dates, any other final points to underline.
Yeah, look, I'll just quickly show the reporting. So yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. You assign that work and it sits here, and you'll be able to see when and where your students have completed that work. I'll just go into biology quickly, show you the assessment report and also the curriculum report. The assessment report reports directly against those assessments found in the chapters and the topics. It then breaks it down, and then I can go in and have a look at this, exactly what the students have answered, how they've gone. And I can also check when I go back here who is above level, on level, below level as well, and quickly with the curriculum.
Yep. So, Paul, just on availability dates, and we've got a final question on what the RRP is, the cost.
Yeah. So I'll just bring this up now.
Oh, and how good is that?
Yeah. So the student notebook and print and digital is $84.95 for Unit 1 and 2. It'll be available. The print book will be available in December this year. The digital only will be available in October. So that's $64.95, $84.95 for print and digital. Teacher O-Book Pro digital only is $299.95. That's if a teacher just wants to buy it for themselves. Any schools or teachers that book list, they get free access to the teacher dashboard that I just showed you. That's included in that book listing as well. Units 3 and 4, that availability won't be until May next year.
Okay.
Where to next? We've got sample chapters, print and digital on our webpage. John's going to put that into the chat box now, so you can quickly click the link and open that up. We've also got hard copies available of the sample chapter now if anyone wants to access those. There's a couple of webinars that delve more deeply into the new study design, which our authors, which are practicing teachers and our publishing team go through succinctly. So it's definitely a book. And also a more in-depth guided tour of the chemistry for VCE than what we've been able to do today. Yeah, so
that,
here's all of
that's super. Yeah, so Paul, we'll need to wrap up. So thank you so much. That was great.
All right.
And thank you very much, John, as well. So we'll all just take a deep breath and say, fantastic. Thank you, Oxford. And what we'll do now is we will turn to Jacaranda, where we have Brent Ramsay, who's the Director of Publishing at Jacaranda.
Thanks, Susanna.
So, Brent, are you there, Brent? Okay, so we seem to have lost Brent along the way. I think he was here beforehand, but maybe he's dropped. Oh no, there you are, Brent. I was just about to dive into my screen and come and look for you. So
apologies, it only just came up to be able to unmute myself.
The joys of technology. Yeah, great. Excellent. All right, well, let's go. Thank you very much, Brent.
Perfect. So hopefully, Susanna, can you just give me the thumbs up if you can see my screen? Perfect.
Definitely.
Excellent. Great, excellent. And just wanted to start off by saying thanks again to Susanna and Campion for having us along for this webinar event. Hi everyone, my name is Brent Ramsay and I'm the Director of Publishing at Jacaranda. And I'm super excited to be here this afternoon to present the brand new editions of VCE Chemistry 3E, obviously for the brand new study design due to be implemented next year. So I thought what I'd start is to give you a background from where Jacaranda is coming from with this. So obviously we've got a new study design due next year for units 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 for the year after. And sort of the starting point for our author and publishing teams was our recent second edition. So we did brand new editions of Chemistry 1 and Chemistry 2 in 2019, just before COVID, where we fully revised those editions, and we also added in a ton of digital support and put them in our Learn On platform. And we were super excited that they were so well received and actually received category and overall outstanding winner at the 2020 Educational Publishing Awards. So the author team, along with the publishing team, did a ton of research, both for those editions and the new editions. And we've really tried to target the most popular or the most frequent problems and challenges that teachers are having in the classroom. And so we're able to deliver the brand new third edition. So Jacaranda Chemistry 1 and 2, obviously units 1 and 2 will be available this year, so in October, ready for implementation next year. And the units 3 and 4 title will actually be available in early May 2023. So nice and early. So this is our brand new pricing structure as well. So digital, so 1 year's access to the digital content is $50. If you would like to have a print option as well for your students, it's just an extra $30 for that print. So a combined digital and print purchase of $80. We also have some exciting new flexible purchasing models as well. So one of them is the Super Course, which potentially gives you access to multiple titles for 1 year, and that's for $55. So just $5 extra to add titles on to the individual title. So as we mentioned, these titles are developed by Victorian teachers specifically for VCE students. So the authors have done a ton of work on fine-tuning these new editions and updating them to the new study design. The new editions will not only have VCAR exam questions in the digital resource, so in Learn On, but they'll also be available in the print. So when I go through and show you some of the pages, you'll see that we've got past VCAR exam questions and exam style questions in every lesson, so in every subtopic, exposing students to those exam style and exam level questions for every lesson. And everything's going to be available in one place. So previous editions of this series, we've had ebook plus versions, we've had e-guide plus versions where teachers go to get their teacher resources, and we've had Study On, which is where the exam style questions or the past VCAR questions have been. The great news is now that's all in one place. It's all in Learn On, which is our online immersive learning platform. It's where teachers can connect to their students and teachers can track student progress against the course. I did mention Supercourse. We might touch on that a bit later. So the author team has just put together this slide. We've actually just recently done a deep dive into the VCE Chemistry Study Design. So if you did want to access that recording, just let us know. We're happy to pass that on. But the 6 key areas that the author team has identified are greater emphasis on key science skills, increased focus on sustainability, clearer definition of terms. There's been some reordering and changes to content, been some alteration and amendments made to the Units 1 Area Study 3 research investigation topics, and changes to the assessment types and weightings. The authors have made sure that all of our components and all of the resources all reflect all the changes in the study design. And as I mentioned, if you do want to get access to that deep dive recording into the study design, just let us know and we can send that on. These are the 2 new covers, again mentioned, developed by Victorian teachers specifically for VCE students. The alignment to the study design is evident right from the table of contents. So you can see here the table of contents for Units 1 and 2, and we clearly align our topics to the headings that are in the study design, breaking them up into areas of study. At the end of each of those areas of study, we do have an area of study review, which includes a practice SAC, a student-facing practice SAC, and also a student-facing practice examination. As I mentioned, this Units 1 and 2 title will be available in October. You can see there that we do have a research investigation section, which takes in that Unit 1 Area of Study 3 content of scientific evidence, sustainability and science communication. And then topic 17, scientific investigation, takes in that Unit 2 Area of Study 3, investigation design, scientific evidence and science communication. Here is the Units 3 and 4 TOC. It's always nice to see this. And if any teachers did want to have access to see what the draft sample pages of the Units 3 and 4 title are looking like, we're happy to share those as well. So just reach out to us. We do have some topics at draft for these. But you can see there, again, one-to-one correspondence with the alignment, with the study design, clearly broken up into the areas of study. Again, the Chemistry 2 title will be available in Term 2 of 2023. Okay, we've already mentioned this, but you can see here the table of contents is clearly broken up into units and areas of study, and then we've got those review sections at the end of each area of study, and that correspondence is in print and it matches one-to-one on digital. So if you've got some students that are using the print title and some that are just using online, then it is one-to-one correspondence. You don't have to worry about students being in the wrong areas or being in inconsistent places. It's one-to-one correspondence. At the beginning of each topic, we clearly identify the key knowledge and key skills that are going to be covered in that topic. So you can see here, we've got those key knowledge points out the front on the topic opener. And then once you drill into the topic, you can see on the right-hand side, we've got the start of a subtopic there. You can see that we've called out the key knowledge dot point that we're going to cover in that subtopic. So really specifically aligning the content to the study design. In the instance of that subtopic 2.2 representing molecules, you can be sure that all the content that's contained in that subtopic is directly aligned with that key knowledge point. Let's drill down further into this subtopic. So you can see there we've got the key knowledge dot point at the top, and then we go into the content. Now, obviously these are pages or the print pages, but what I can reassure you is that these pages really come to life in the digital, and I'll show you that a bit later. We embed videos, we embed interactivities, we embed web links so students can interact with the content. Throughout the content, you'll also notice that we've got some sample problems. So you can see here, this one is a sample problem, and we step out how students should respond to that. So we use the popular think, write structure. So on the left-hand side, it's showing students what they should be thinking and how they should be addressing. And then on the right-hand side, it shows what students should be writing down. So it steps them through. I might just drill down further into this sample problem approach. So really it's the tell me, show me, let me do it approach. So it starts off with a sample problem, stepping the students through the think and the write. All the sample problems will be supported by videos. So this will show a teacher-led video stepping students through those sample problems. And then each sample problem is followed by a practice problem. So it allows students to actually attempt it themselves. And see whether they can step themselves through answering that sample problem. So the tell me, think right, the show me, the teacher-led video, and then the let me do it, the practice problem. So that's for every single sample problem in the title. We also then have, as per the increased focus in the study design, we've also increased our support around experiments and investigations. So you can see here in the print page, we've mentioned here that we're going to have experiment 4.1 investigating calcite crystals. And you can see on the left-hand side here that we've got an E-log number and also a TLVD. So what that's saying to me is that if I want to download the E-log book, the practical investigation E-log book, I can click on that icon and download that. And if I want to watch the teacher-led video of this investigation or experiment, I can also watch that. So we'll drill down into that a bit further. You will notice at the bottom there that there's some content called out as background knowledge. So we've tried to explicitly call out any extra content that we've included. So in order to allow teachers and students to be razor focused on the key knowledge dot point, we've called out anything that's background knowledge, and you can see at the top there, there's also some extension content as well. And this is just, we didn't want to remove all of this content from the title. We wanted to provide teachers with options to be able to teach the way that they want to teach. So, you know, some students might require that extra mediation with that background knowledge, and some students might be ahead and might require more extension. They might require a bit more context to be able to understand the concept or the content. So we've got opportunities for students to explore background and extension case studies as well. Now, we mentioned the investigation support there with the e-logbook and the teacher-led videos. So what I'll say is that the e-logbook is not an extra charge. So it's included in the price of the digital. So in the $50 access to the digital, you get access to all of the practical e-logbook content. So you can see here that we've got the student pages online here. So you can see that it steps the students through this investigation with an introduction and then steps them through an aim, hypothesis, preparation of the task. It then takes them through the method, gives them space to write their results, and then their discussion questions and conclusions. Now, these are customizable. They can be downloaded as a topic level PDF, but they can also be downloaded as individual Word documents. So if you wanted to change elements of these, add more questions, or remove some, or maybe change some of the components of the investigation, you can do that. They're all customizable, and you can share those with your students through Learn On. 20 of our experiments will also be supported by teacher-led videos. So teacher-led videos of the experiment. This is really great if you wanted to maybe flip the model, get students to watch the investigation, and then complete the results themselves. The other way you could do it is you could give students access to the results and then get them to do a data analysis on that. But the videos, they're really great. I'll show you an example of one of those when we get into Learn On, but they're really great. We've got some great feedback on those during periods of remote learning, where teachers were like saying that were their lifesaver. This is what the teacher version of the laboratory guides look like. So you can see here that on the left-hand side, we directly align those teacher lab notes with the key knowledge and key skills points. We also provide sample responses throughout. So you can see down here, the hypothesis, which was was empty in the student edition, we've now got sample responses in there in the teacher edition. You can see that it also includes health and safety guidelines as well as risk assess. So full risk assess for each investigation experiment is supplied. And then, of course, we have all of the answers overlaid. So we've got sample results and then also sample responses to all of the discussion questions as well. So really comprehensive teacher support for every single investigation or experiment that we've got in the title. Then at the end of every so those investigations are embedded in the content where it makes sense for them to be covered. So rather than being separate, they're embedded in the content where they need to be. At the end of each subtopic, we have restructured our question set. So there's now three different sets of questions. The first one being a quick quiz. So that's a set of auto-mark questions. Then we've got the exercise questions. So they're the questions that are in the print. And then following that, we've got a set of exam questions. So that's in 3 and 4, in units 3 and 4, where we're going to have all the past VCAR exam questions. The quick quiz, that's a set of 5 auto-mark questions, terminology, definition-based questions. Really great to use as potentially an entry or an exit pass test. Also really great because they're all auto marks, so you don't have to worry about marking them. And these can be, the good thing about them is in Learn On, in our test maker, you can actually spool all of these up to a topic or to a area of study level. So you can create higher level practice quizzes that align with different levels of the study design. So, and of course, anything that students answer online, all the results are tracked.
Brent, just to interrupt and let you take a breather for a second, we've got a question in the chat. Yep. Are the risk assessments importable to risk assess? This is for both Oxford and Jacaranda, if the Oxford team is still there. This is the Jacaranda time, so if the Oxford team is still there, feel free to reply in the chat. But yeah, Brent, do you have any comment on that? Are the risk assessments importable to risk assess?
I'm not entirely across the different formats that can be imported into that platform, but I can say that they are available from us in Word and also PDF. So I imagine if those two formats are available to or are able to be imported, then they will be. But I can definitely find out more about that. I can find out more about that platform. And
that sounds like a really interesting question. I'm not familiar with the platform, but if it's one that's commonly used, Brent, if you want to flick me a note, I can put the answer in the when I send out the recording to all the attendees. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Susanna.
Thank you.
Okay, so we were just mentioning about the subtopic question set. So we had the quick quiz, then we had the textbook questions. And then we also now have a set of exam questions. So in units 1 and 2, they will be exam style questions, and in units 3 and 4, they will be past VCAR exam questions. So they will now be in the print as well. The good news is that if you are using the print, you can download work solution documents from the digital to sit alongside the print questions. But if you are accessing these questions in Learn On, students are able to access the solutions immediately. And for those exam style questions, this set, you can see there they've got the little video icon. They will also have video, teacher-led videos explaining how to answer those questions and get full marks for each of those questions. As I mentioned there, so you can see that's the video support. Teacher-led videos will guide students in how to respond to those exam questions and get full marks. The topic reviews have been adjusted slightly. We've now put in key concept flowcharts, and the key idea dot point summary is able to be downloaded. So that's a Word document students can add their own notes to. And then also our review questions will also include exam style questions supported by teacher-led videos explaining the solutions as well. I did mention this earlier, that at the end of each area of study, we do have a student-facing practice SAC, and we do also have a student-facing practice examination. So even more questions for students to practice, and they're broken up into the Section A, Section B style of the exam. Teacher support. When we did our research, this was one of the main areas that teachers really wanted more resources and more support around. So we've ramped it up. We've got work programs, we've got teaching advice, and also additional activities. We've got those practical investigation laboratory guides that we just went through. We've also got a range of quarantine topic tests and school assessed and SACs that teachers can access as well. In the Unit 3 and 4 title, students will also be able to sit full exams. So not only will they have the past VCAR questions at the lesson or the subtopic level, but they'll also have them in there at year level as well, so they can sit the full exam. And I mean, this is probably the most powerful part about Learn On. It's the ability for a teacher to be able to slice and dice all the questions. So all of those different questions that I just mentioned at the subtopic level, at the topic level, at the area of study level, you can access and you can slice and dice those using different filters such as automark questions, cognitive skills, exam style questions, past VCAR questions. You can slice and dice those to create your own question sets, and then you can assign those to your students how you fit.
Brent, this is fantastic. We should probably wrap up. Do you have pub dates and availability dates, maybe retail pricing? There was some interest in that for the last one. Yeah, sure. So I did got the slide here with the QR code. So if you want to access the sample pages, they've got the sample pages there. I did mention this earlier, but Units 1 and 2, the print title will be available from the middle of October, but the digital will be available before that. Digital access is $50. If you want access to the print as well, it's just the extra $30 for the print, so it's $80 for digital and print. And then Supercourse options are just $5 extra. So if you wanted to join multiple titles together, it's just $5 extra. Fantastic. All right. Well, that looks great. Thank you so much, Brent. Really appreciate it. So we'll take a deep breath now and move on to our final presenters for this session, which is our friends from Pearson. So we have Darryl van Leerdam, who's the school's engagement manager, and Rizwan Saeed, key account manager. So hi, Darryl and Rizwan, please take it away.
G'day, Susanna, and thank you for having us, and thank you for all those teachers who've logged in to have a look at the new offering from Pearson. This afternoon we're going to talk about Pearson's 6th edition of the Heinemann Chemistry for VCE. As Susanna said, I'll be presenting. My name's Darryl. I'm the School's Engagement Manager for Secondary for Pearson, and we also have a bit of a local flavour with Rizwan Saeed. He's the Key Account Manager for Victoria, and he'll be joining us later to talk about next steps and availability and some pricing. So let's get into it. The Heinemann Chemistry 6th edition is your one-stop shop for the VCE Chemistry Success. It was written to the new study design for 2023-2027, and it offers a seamless experience for teachers and learners by providing plenty of support to help build confidence. What we've done is we've retained a lot of the beloved features of the former series, and we've also added to that with new research-based improvements, making the series even better than the last ones. We guarantee the high quality content that Pearson is renowned for. We've included plenty of rigor and depth to address the new VCE requirements. The series has been written by an expert team of local authors and meticulously curated by our expert publishing teams in Melbourne. We've ensured also that the key science skills are continually addressed throughout the series. In terms of the components that we offer, where you might be familiar with the student book, so that's the physical text, the ebook, and this is what we call the gateway to the many digital resources that support the resource suite, and the skills and assessment book. We'll now unpack each of those, I guess. Okay, the student book. Pearson has taken into account the refinement of the study design and made an effort to remove any non-essential content such as extension boxes, and many captions have also been reduced. An updated approach to language has meant that the content is accessible to all students. Icons within the student book and the ebook indicate the best times to engage with the many and varied Heinemann digital resources. We also have case study analysis, and these sections bring to life the science through real-world data for the students. And they also contain question sets for student learning engagement. For the ebook is what we call something that it's accessible anywhere, anytime, and from any digital device. So it has an online-offline feature. The ebook is the one-stop shop for all the resources for the Heinemann VCE suite. A clear and well-paced student layout and design enables your students and teachers to effortlessly navigate through the content and interact with the many digital resources that support 21st century learning. The Skills and Assessment book is a printed writing skills and assessment book, and this consolidates the students' learning with worksheets that revisit the key concepts. Students are provided opportunity to engage with and write in practical activities that are scaffolded to support the learner and the expectations that the senior years bring. These are complemented with exam-style questions and an exam readiness guide that provides students with plenty of revision support throughout the course. Seem to have got stuck. Teacher support. The teacher support for the series is easily found under the Teacher tab in the Resources section of the ebook and includes sample teaching plans, fully worked solutions, teaching notes and hints, risk assessments, lab tech support, student activity book support, suggested answers for pracs and alternative materials, because as we know, some schools don't have access to everything, and also assessment tasks that meet the requirements of the study design. We also have an area of Study 3 support, and this includes samples, templates, teacher notes, and rubrics. And all of these things are available as Word docs so that you can manipulate them and put them into the format that your school deems fit. We also have an exam readiness guide, as mentioned before, with lots of tips for the students. And this is found in the Skills and Assessment book, and the solutions are provided to teachers. We also have past VCAA questions for Year 12 coming in Book 2. And we've also mapped the relevant questions from the last 10 years so that these are filterable and searchable so that you can build up a resource for particular areas of interest. As well as that, we also have practice exams available in the skills and assessment book. We're talking a little bit now about our newest feature. So this is our ebook and assessment. Our ebook and assessment is an online resource that gives instant feedback for teachers and lets students consolidate their learning and get an understanding of how they're travelling. It's made up of a bank of over 1,000 questions, and in these questions, hints are provided to support the broadly differentiated classroom. It's very useful for homework, for study, and for consolidation of learning. Every section has online assessment support of 8 to 10 questions, and at the end of the chapter, there's a chapter review of around 16 questions. And the question types differ, and there's a broad range, so they're also different from those that are available in the student book. You can see some hints there. We'll have a deep dive into this, and we'll do some demos on it as well. Teachers can assign tasks directly to individual students or groups of students or the whole class. These are great to reinforce learning and provide a formative assessment and guide for where your students are at within the learning journey. Once the students have completed the assigned task, they have option to go back at any time and retry these tasks, which is also useful for study and self-paced revision. Teachers are provided with real-time analytics and can see whether students asked for help and if they recorded correct or incorrect responses. The data is able to be drilled down to each question level and is all fully exportable for reporting purposes. All right, so we might just jump back out now and we'll jump into the actual tool. For the demonstration purposes and for even some of the slides that we've used there, I've just grabbed some biology examples just because some of the chemistry stuff wasn't available for me at the time of this presentation. So we'll dive into the biology, which was released last year. A lot of the features are exactly the same, and we'll just do a quick little skim through, and then I'll hand it over to Riz for the next stage in the presentation. To get to the resources, the easiest way for a teacher is to click on the icon below the ebook icon, and it opens up what we call our resources page. Here you can toggle between the resources that are available to the particular title. So you've got a whole series of whole book resources where you'll find things like your lists of videos and interactives. You've got your exam readiness guides, your practice exams, those types of things. And then if you open it up in terms of a chapter by chapter, relevant to each chapter for resources, we'll have fully worked solutions, all your interactives, a direct link straight to those, which you can embed in your LMS. You've got all your online practical materials and so forth. Down the bottom here, you can see you've got your sample teaching plans and some more fully worked solutions that are available for download there too. Again, all of these things download. If it's a programming type resource, it downloads as a Word document. And if it's something that we don't want people changing, like the answers, then it's a PDF. If you click on the assessments tab, you can see then the assessments that are available with the new ebook Assess. And you can see at the start of each chapter, there's an online prior knowledge assessment and also a reflection. And at the end of the chapter, there's an online reflection. So if we actually go into each of these activities, you'll be able to see a range of question types. We can just click through the question types. So as a teacher, you get to preview whether or not that looks any good for where your students are at. This one's a drag and drop. You can also see what are the hints that the student might be shown if they ask for a hint when they're viewing the task. So you can see the hints there, and then finally you can also reveal the answer. So you can see what is the answer if the student asks for the answer. It's easy to to share the task from within the task, or if you wanted to go back to the menu, you can accordingly share the task with your class straight from the menu here as well. So if we click on that same task and we'll just do a quick share, what it will do is it'll give you a hyperlink, and you can copy that and embed that into your LMS, so you can deliver that particular task to the students in the context of how you want them to do it in the lesson.
Oh, sorry, Darryl. I've got a couple of questions, but you were in mid-flow.
Yeah, no, that's all right, Suzanne. Go.
Sure. So a couple of questions, both around the student workbook, I think. Peter would like to know, will there be an electronic or online version of that student workbook? And Christopher is wondering if the skills and assessment book, so I think that's the workbook, does it have the same summary as the current student workbook?
So, yes, that's a great question. Both of those questions. So at this time, we won't have a full electronic version of the skills and assessment book. It's designed as a write-in book, so students get to keep that with them and actually work through that. We do have electronic versions of the answers. So as teachers, you can project those answers of those pages, but we don't have it in its blank format. In terms of the next question.
The next one was, will it have summaries like the current workbook does? So,
yeah. That's pretty much a given. Yes. So the key knowledge that was summarised at the start of each of those chapters will be present for the new one as well. In that way, then it acts as the perfect go-to for summary, for revision, and for study. Yep.
Yeah, lovely. And then one more, are the books sold separately, or is it a package? I'm assuming you've got a slide on the formatting options and the pricing and how they're all put together. So we'll get to that. Yep, super.
For sure.
Okay, thank you.
So once the students have completed those tasks, what you as a teacher will be able to do is view your class data. So you just jump over to your classes. You can create a class simply just by clicking on New Class, giving it a name, and then adding the students that are relevant to that particular class. If we go down here to the Heinemann 11 bio, you can see the assessments that are available. Again, you can do a quick share straight from here, but you can also see the results. So some of the tasks that have been completed here, 6 out of 11 students have done the Chapter 1 online prior knowledge assessment with an average class mark of 53%. You drill down into the result and you can see what student has recorded and what their score was. And then if you wanted to, you can even drill down into a particular student and see the answers that they provided for that task. And you can see they had one attempt and it got that one correct. For this one, it was incorrect. They didn't use any hints, so they only did one attempt, which is a bit of a throwaway. They had 2 hints to use, but they have chosen not to do that. Pardon me. Must be a thing about sick guys presenting this afternoon.
I'm just glad we're all online while everyone coughs and splutters. Just another question popped into the chat there from Peter. How would the online resources work if a student buys a book secondhand? That never happens. Well, it won't happen next year, but it will after that. So
yeah, for sure. So with Pearson, we have what we call a renewal reactivation code, and they're available through booksellers, through Campion. They can sell you a reactivation code for the secondhand market. One of the things we do warn for schools that go down that secondhand market is if a parent was to buy a book secondhand, say for $40 or something like that, they're not aware that they might be stung for a $20 reactivation code for the digital component. And so they really have to then weigh up, well, was it worth going secondhand? Because they didn't account for that cost, and they could have essentially bought a new product for very similar price. So that's one thing.
Which is a great point. Though, of course, sometimes parents pass books down their kids, all that kind of thing. But so they are catered for. So yep. And looks like we've got another question coming in from Christopher, but he's typing. So Oh, sustainability is a key aspect. Yeah, and I think all publishers and Campion are investing very much in digital products now that enables that sustainability, and of course, secondhand is a part of that too. Yep.
I might get Rizwan on if he's available to talk through the next couple of slides and talk about some of the stuff that we're doing to support you into the future with next steps.
Hi everyone. So I'd like to talk about the pricing and availability. Obviously, we're very excited. We've been working all of Q2 and we've had some great response from most of the schools who are keen to learn more. We did in the first round of emails introduce some sample chapters, which by now have been downloaded by most of our teachers. But if not, we can provide that link, Darryl, right after this in the chat, and then whoever
Correct.
wishes to register, and right away when you register, you can download sample pages. If you wish to receive sample pages via email, I can send out zip copies as well, zip files as well. In terms of pricing, as you can see, the ebook itself is just $64.96, and the student book, that is the text one, which is print only, is $94.95. There's the textbook, student book is $94, the ebook is $64, and the skills and assessment, which is hard copy only, is $34. Now, all of this combined in a bundle is $119.96, and so all of this will be available as soon as we start giving you dates on when the books will be ready. In terms of what's upcoming, and something I'm really excited to be hosting almost all of you, is our webinars that are coming up, where we will do some sort of demo and show a lot more and showcase what the book is about and what content is out there, which will include most of our really passionate, writers, content team as well. So look out for our email, and if you register, then you automatically will get an email from myself or my colleague Julia, who's also in Victoria. And we look forward to sharing more in-depth details about the two, the chemistry and physics, but chemistry for now, on the 10th of August. In terms of release date, we're really hoping we will meet our deadline, which is roughly end of November, December. And we look forward to sharing more. Obviously, a lot more will be shared with Campion as well. They're our partners, and what sort of deliveries will be made. We're really looking forward to our commitment to them, therefore, availability to you. Next slide, Darryl. Yes, so obviously out here in Victoria, there is myself available via this email address. There's Julia Shaw, which is my colleague. She takes care of the east side of the schools from the Hume, and I take care of the north and the west. And obviously there's Darryl. Darryl can, anytime you have any questions about the platform, Darryl's always available. Together we can do a platform demo using biology in a lot more detail if required. I did see a question.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks, Riz. There's one more question there just on the student. Does the student textbook include the ebook? Maybe hop back to the slide that has the formatting and prices while you talk to that might be great. So yes, if you buy the student book text for $94.95, does that include the ebook, or do you need to buy the bundle if you want the whole lot?
It's just for the print book. So student book is $94.95 for just the print copy, hard copy, and then the ebook is separate. If I'm correct?
Actually, that's incorrect. The student book automatically comes with the ebook.
The ebook of the student book, but
then
you're buying
if you buy a print book, you get the electronic version automatically.
Right.
If you just wanted to go digital, you just do the ebook up the top. Yeah.
Yeah, great. And then if you want the whole lot, there's the bundle. So
That's
you can buy the student book plus ebook $94.95, the skills and assessment book, also known as the workbook, or the ebook of the student book, I'm guessing, or you can go the bundle and get the whole lot.
Yep.
Yeah. Super.
Thank you, Darryl. Sorry, I missed that. And if you have any other questions, we're always available via email, and otherwise, I'm also a phone call away.
Fantastic. All right. Well, on that note, we will say thank you so much, Darryl and Rizwan, and also to all of the to our friends from Cambridge and Oxford who have also presented today. Thank you to attendees, both live on this call and who are watching on the recording, which will be sent out in the next day or two. So really informative, guys. Great to see some of these new products and how you're responding to the new curriculum. And in this webinar series, we have next week, we've got maths, physics, digital and psychology. So if anyone on the call would like to tell their friends, you're all very welcome. So good night all. Have a great night.